had to give a presentation about my region. And in preparing for that presentation, I learned so much about my own region, about what's going on, where I need to invest, etc., etc. So just preparing a sermon, you're the one that benefits the most from this. So even if there was one person in the audience, it's still a great benefit. Maybe you should try that sometimes. Pretend you have to give a sermon and think about what would you talk about. So this is a warm-up slide. You'll see the relevance of this later on. So there's some, where's the kids? Some cute pictures for the kids, animal pictures. Right. So this is Lily, our cat Lily, and our cat Molly. We found her abandoned in the back garden a year ago. There's our dog Ben. He passed away a couple of months ago, so Ben's no more. So again, we'll see the relevance of these ladies, Ben and Lily, best buds. So on to the sermon. So full disclosure here, people who know me know that I am who I am. I can be a little bit skeptical and cynical. Kind of like, I was asked to give a sermon by John last week, so that's what I'm doing. But also, it's like I am who I am, where everyone's unique. Our church is so broad. Like when I applied for the job, I worked for Shining Ocean, and it used to be a church company. And when I interviewed for the job 5 years ago, I said to the owner of the company, look, if there's any litmus test on faith here for this job, I'm not your man. I am who I am. So for me, in the church, especially the last 15 years, we've had a lot of different events. This is my house, actually. You can see me in the background in Syracuse. A blessing in October 2009. And quite honestly, I don't begin to understand a lot of these events that we've had in our church over the last 10, 15 years, the different blessings and this level and that level. But I go along to get along, man of faith, we trust Father, this is all providential. 2 years ago, Mr. Inese, the leader of the Kodan, came and he gave a very in-depth presentation about explaining all these things and what we should be doing. And at the time, I really struggled with this. You can see I actually wrote a letter to him, like a 2-page letter. He asked us to please give our response. He actually said that, we've got so I wrote a 2-page letter to him. This is just one part of it. So you can see a little bit of a cynical guy here, it's like I'm saying, hey, from my presented point of view, this didn't really inspire me so much. So what inspires me, what motivates me? And last time I gave a sermon, was it 2 years ago? But I talked about the second generation are our hope for the future. And I remember I gave an analogy of as we're in the wilderness, it's like a wagon train going across the country. And now we're in the settlement period, we're kind of like circling the wagons. And it's a time of settlement. So my conclusion was that don't worry so much. Our second gen are going to be leading the way and things will fall in place. Now 2 years later, we're sitting here with we asked ourselves, I know Bob was talking last week about how can we develop our church, how can we increase our congregation. And it's a challenge to us all. But and of course, we had a pastor for over a year, Ben Giuliano, did a great job as our pastor, and he really was a rallying point for the youth here in the Raleigh region. And for me, for the last 20 years, I have 4 children. My youngest is 19, and just growing up, this is Camp Shahapa in Pennsylvania. This was like the cornerstone, if you like, of my children's faith. Every year they'd spend 2 weeks there and receive the principal and really bond with the community. And So this was a great experience. We have wonderful traditions in our church, the Ilsham ceremony. You know, it's just really precious where the kids make a commitment to purity at a certain age. I mean, how great is that? And fast forward to the present day. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I were very fortunate enough to go to Estes Park. Some of you have been involved in GPA. My youngest is doing the GPA right now. And they have this family workshop in Colorado. And I actually joined the church in Denver, Colorado. So I decided if I'm going to spend the money on going to a 3-day workshop, we're going to go for a week. You know, so the wife and I went out a bit early and spent time with friends in the Denver area and did some sightseeing. So we were so blessed. It was like 75 degrees and sunny the whole time we were there. So we were really blessed with great weather. But the highlight of the trip was the workshop at Estes Park. And it snowed on the last day. Our last day of our vacation we got snow, but even the snow is beautiful too. So this is Estes Park, and this is very special. It's a lot. They invite family members of the kids that are doing GPA. There were 400 people there. You know, parents. They invited alumni too. So there are a lot of people that have been through the workshop. Now, again, as I said at the beginning, you know, I can be a bit of a cynic. You know, 7-8 years ago, when my eldest daughter was of the age to go to GPA, I wouldn't let her go, even if she wanted to. At the time she didn't want to, because I researched and I thought it was too much fundraising. It was all fundraising. I'm thinking, hey, I've been there, done that, I don't want my kids to do that. But fundraising is there to build the foundation of faith. And the first half of this program is mostly fundraising. And the way I see GPA now, it's almost like an encapsulation of Formula Course. They do foundation of faith, they do a lot of fundraising where they really are challenged in their faith, and the second half of it, they do a lot of community work. Right now, my daughter is in Columbus, Ohio, working with the church community there, which is actually a pretty big church community. And it's funny because when I graduated National MFT, I went to Columbus, Ohio, so that was where I first started doing my foundation of substance. And here she is repeating her old man's formula course. So, and then Estes Park, so beautiful there. A lot of testimonies from people, parents, kids that are going in the program. Some of the second gen were in Hawaii when Mother spoke recently in Hawaii. We all saw that video of Mother in Hawaii. But anyway, anytime, even here, you get, 400 second gen, well, they're not all second gens, but you get a couple of 100 second gens together. It's a pretty exciting atmosphere. And another thing that kind of like softened me up a little bit was, there's a picture. I'm in there somewhere for the shiny head. Anyway, so this is Bishop Keegan Kim, who's the continental leader. And again, as I'm talking more to the older guys here, when you look at your life of faith in the church, it's not always easy interacting with Korean leaders. They can be real SOBs, But this guy gave an incredible presentation, and I worked with him in Philadelphia 20 years ago, and I've never come across a more artistic, loving human being. So anyway, it gives me hope when someone like Keegan Kim is the overall overseer of our church in America. But it was my birthday 3 days ago, May 1st, I was 59 years old. So we're getting older, and it kind of does make you, that's not John Pace, looks like it.
We thought that was you.
As you get older, you kind of reflect on your reality. Hey, what am I doing? I'm going to be 60 soon. What's happening? And what's happening in our movement? What are people doing? What's exciting about what's going on? It's amazing. There are members out there that are really living the life and really putting their ideals into practice. This is When you pass the age of 60, you should retire from public life, return to the farm village in your hometown, cultivate the earth and prepare to go to the spirit world. You will be busy preparing for the spirit world. For this reason, you should devote yourself sincerely and deeply. Involve yourself in farming village, taking responsibility to guide its people the way I would. In the future, I will build a farm and bring all the members from around the world. When you reach the age of 60 or 70, you will grow things in nature, deeply experiencing the same heart as when raising children, and deeply experiencing the realm of God's heart at the time of the creation. Then when you go to the spirit world, you can ascend to a higher level. Therefore, for those undergoing hardships in the Unification Church, I am planning to bring them to a farm in their later years and let them live in self-sufficiency in a country house. This is the ideal homeland. This is my plan. So there's actually a very good friend of mine, Greg Knoll, who's trying to put this is actually, I'm poaching from his PowerPoint. He put this together. Next few slides are an edited version of his PowerPoint about a community that they're developing in Pennsylvania, where they bought 20,000 acres, not 20,000, 20 acres of land, and they're going to develop a farm and sublet and try and encourage members to live together. It's not going to be like a hippie thing where you all have breakfast together every morning. You have your own home, but it's like an extended community. And this is actually happening. This isn't something that is just someone's idea. The property's been purchased and people are involved. So, hands in the soil is healing to the body and soul. Now, I should say here, I'm not necessarily going to drop everything and move to Pennsylvania. A couple of weeks from now, I have to go up to my son's graduation, and on the way back, we're going to stop in and visit the place in Pennsylvania. But again, they want to, fulfill Father's ideal, This is some pictures of the property. I really feel bad. I didn't have a picture of Greg Knoll from the front. There he is from the back. But he's a wonderful human being. And that's the house that they just bought. They were living in New Jersey, so they go from New Jersey to New York border. But so that's developing a community. So don't just pretend to love others, really love them. Hate what is wrong and hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight. Don't look out for only your own interests, but take an interest in others too. Honouring each other. Let me just look at my notes here, see if I missed anything important. So that's what Greg Knoll is trying to do, and it's what a lot of members do. Just in everyone here too, in your own course of life, you're such a wonderful bunch. You're always looking out for each other. Another example that comes to mind is my good friend Martin Campage, and you recognise the restaurant? That was last spring, and just before Bob's restaurant opened up, and that's my sister, Dibna, my eldest sister. She was visiting for a couple of weeks. And we went down there, and actually, Martin was amazing. He was a pastor of the church community there, and he told my sister about. Anyway, long story short, we blessed her. We took her to Reverend Carmiana's house, and had a little wine ceremony, and blessed my elder sister. It was a very special experience. But something else that Martin's done is he's built this labyrinth. And this is he started this a year and a half ago. This is next to his workshop in New Bern. And there was an article in yesterday's newspaper. It's like the third or fourth time he's been in a newspaper. Yesterday he had an event. 40 people showed up for this event to walk the labyrinth. It was apparently National Labyrinth Day. And so they had this article in the newspaper, and over 40 people showed up and walked this labyrinth. And you have people who, he was telling me, I spoke to him on the way to church this morning, and this guy who's diagnosed with cancer, he walked the labyrinth and he felt really at peace with himself. And what they did is they gave everybody a little note paper as they walked into the labyrinth and asked them to write a prayer. And on the way out, they were each given a stone, a church member hand-painted, expect miracles. You know, and they're going to read these prayers. Now he has, every Wednesday at his workshop, he has a lunch meeting, and it's a spiritual fellowship. So people of all religions, you know, they can sense it on this. You know, it's like something everyone can relate to. And now he had a couple of really important people in the community over his house, and they're very strong Christians. But over dinner, he could give them the mission of Jesus presentation. He could talk to them about the mission of Jesus, you know, based on their relationship from this. So it's a wonderful way to witness. It's about the other guy, Greg Noll, he has his passion. Martin Cambridge, he's an artist, but he just decided to do this. He's a very spiritual guy. That's his passion. You know, other people in our community have their passions. I can't help but think of Bob with his passion for music. You know, he should be performing in local venues. I know he's working very hard with his restaurant, but that's the way he can reach out to people in the community. And you know, we have, you know, again, this is something that people tell us: find your passion, something that inspires you. I still struggle with that myself. I don't have a great passion. I'm real busy with our lives. But there are simple things you can still do to reach out to people. One real obvious thing is, how did you meet your wife? You know, I'm a salesman. I meet people all the time. You know, I'm always visiting people, and we go out to dinner as a natural course, and that question always comes up. For the first time, I've been working for Shining Ocean for 5 years. I took my wife with me on a business trip to meet some of my key people, and you go out to dinner with your wife, with a customer and his wife, and it's like, how did you meet your wife? And always, I don't beat around the bush. I was blessed by Reverend Moon at Madison Square Garden with 2,000 others, you know. And it's like, oh wow, really? I mean, what a great way to start a conversation. But it's like you're just telling them flat out who you are, and it leads to a conversation. This is one of my customers, David Troutman, in southern Georgia. And we visited he's got this cabin out there that he goes to on the weekends. But, you know, he has Father's book. He's a strong Christian. He's not changing his faith or anything. But, you know, it's no problem for him that I'm a Mooney, that I'm a member of the Unification Church. And you can dialogue and you can inspire people, and it gets them asking questions. Now, this person here, his name is Koji Nakanishi, and he's not a church member. He's a very successful businessman. This is in Miami, Florida. And I was there 2 weeks ago, and I found out, his wife didn't tell me, he just passed away. He was in spirit world. I was so shocked. I mean, he's the same age as me. And she didn't tell me exactly why. I didn't want to push her on a heart attack or something. But it makes you think, and he's the only other person that I've given Father's book to. My wife got a Japanese copy of it for me, and we gave him Father's book, because he's just a... But anyway, it makes you think about your own mortality, and you know, a lot of our members, first generation, are my age, you know. And here I am, you know, I'm wearing glasses now, I've got hearing aids on, I've got an artificial knee. It's like, you know, we're kind of falling apart, you know. So, but what we can always do is we can always live with kindness in our hearts, you know. See that no one pays back evil for evil, but always try to do good to each other and all people. Worry weighs the person down. An encouraging word cheers the person up. Another something I'm very blessed with in my job is I do get to travel a lot. I travel all over the southeast, and I get to visit members in different communities. I've been to the Seattle church, to the Atlanta church, to the different Florida churches. Sometimes I'll plan a business trip so I can stay the weekend and visit with the community, and I'm always blown away by the kindness I'm shown by different members. This is Steve and Terry Hale and their daughter. This is in Colorado recently. But he opened up his doors to us. We stayed at his house for over a week, you know, on and off. You know, we went on little trips and stuff, you know. And, you know, I didn't have time to put all this together, otherwise I could show you about 20 different pictures. This is Charles Spacek. He looks like a little hillbilly, doesn't he? That's in, that's in Central Florida. But he's a real character. He's got serious health issues, but he's always so kind and generous with his time. When he was younger in the church, anyway, I don't want to digress, he did a lot of work with youth in Florida. He put together workshops, so he's a real blessed individual. And then, you know, we had people come in. North Carolina's kind of a good stop-off point where people are going from the north to Florida. So many times we have people stop over, and I'm sure we all do the same thing. The Uyamas aren't here, but their house is like a way station for half the members in the church, you know, and second gen are always coming by and staying over there. So just simple things like this and then even the people outside this is Frank and Kyle Wallace and their two kids. They become very good friends of ours. They're not church members, but you know, just reach out to other people and build those bonds. So tribal messiahship. How big is the tribal messiah's mission? His father's words. I will not trade one tribal messiah for hundreds of governors of Jeju province. I will not trade one tribal messiah for hundreds of presidents. If I hadn't known the value of it, I would not have started this game. If I had not known the value of this, I wouldn't have started this game. Take on this great tribal messiahship responsibility. Risk your life and go. So I'm not going to get into a big dissertation about tribal messiahship. I mean, this is one of the books that we had many of these books. And this is just on tribal messiahship, you know. And I'm sure you can go into great detail about what tribal messiahship means. It's based on the foundation of restoration of elder sonship, restoration of parents. You ask 10 different people what tribal messiahship means to them, you'll probably get 10 different answers, you know. But for me, it's just really giving of yourself, just being a loving individual, just serving people and working in your community like Martin Campish, like Greg Knoll. So that one of the best examples of tribal messiahships, this, I don't know how many of you know him, this is Bruce Bernini. This is my eldest daughter, Eileen, and she's blessed to Arthur Bernini. They've been married for like 5 years now, and that's his youngest son, Michael, Caroline, Betsy, his wife, and this is last September. We visited them in Connecticut where they live, and they also have 2 daughters, and they have another son, so they have a big family. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of you know, just less than 2 months ago, Bruce passed away. He's 59 years old, same age as me, and just a sudden massive heart attack. It was a shock. You know, I mean, he was in good health, he was fit, there was nothing wrong with him. And of course, we went to his sunrise ceremony, and it was held at UTS, Unification Theological Seminary. It was packed. Bruce in his life has been involved with the church camp in Pennsylvania, one of the founding members of that. This was built by members. And go back to Estes Park. When I was at Estes Park, there was a sister, Susan Buchari. I know her as Susan Landers. We were on MFT together. But anyway, Susan works closely with Mike Balcon. She's like his assistant at headquarters. And she gave a presentation at Estes Park to all the second gen, encouraging them to get involved in the church, to actually come and work for the church. You can make decent money working for the church. You know, they pay okay. You know, it's a full-time mission. If that's your passion, you can work for the church. But we had lunch together, and she was telling me this story. She had this meeting at national headquarters, and all the leaders were there, some Korean leaders and elders, and one person had been to Bruce Bernini's Sunrise ceremony. And they were giving a testimony about this ceremony, how wonderful it was. You know, such a beautiful atmosphere. His whole family was there. Everyone gave testimonies, and it was so special. One of these leaders said, "Well, what's his mission?" Oh, he didn't have a mission. You know, what was he a leader? Where was he? No, he wasn't a leader. He was a regular guy. So he didn't have a mission. He wasn't in a position, and these guys couldn't understand, well, what's going on? You know, wasn't he a church leader, you know, or something? Why did all these people come out? So, for me, Bruce Benini, I'll get emotional, sorry. Anyway, he completed tribal messiahship. If anybody, I'll let you read that. So you don't have to be a leader to have a super important mission to complete tribal messiahship. This individual completed tribal messiahship. So in my mind, he did, and in the mind of a lot of people. He raised a family of 7 kids, and you can see the outpouring of love. So he's in the spirit world now. That's Wyland Townsend, who's another great guy. I don't know if you know him. This is at a picnic in Rochester a few years ago. So last week, John, just as coming to the close here, but last week John Pace talked quite a bit about this new movie, Heaven is for Real. And so based on his sermon last week, I decided to go see it with my wife, and it is a fantastic movie. For us unificationists, we don't need to see a movie to be reminded of the reality of heaven. We all know it's real. Father's taught so much about the spirit world. Heaven is definitely for real. And one scene in the movie, the boy who went to heaven talks about Jesus having a horse. And so I thought that was kind of cute. So maybe our pets, like I showed at the beginning, maybe I'll meet Ben and Lily in heaven. Maybe they'll be there too. I don't know. But the kingdom of heaven is just one quote, Father, about the kingdom of heaven. When we lie in that place of love, we feel that there is nothing under the sun that does not appear good and does not exist for our sake. Since God's love is like that, the heavenly world, which is humankind's destination, namely the kingdom of heaven, is a place filled with such love. So that's something we've got to look forward to, but I don't spend my days looking forward to the kingdom of heaven. I want to live life on this earth. And as I said, I don't remember that one of those original slides, Mr. Innesay, the Kodan leader, said, bottom line, that our level of love on this earth depends on where we go in spirit world. So don't waste time thinking about heaven and how nice it's going to be there. Live your life on earth to the best you can be. If you can be a tribal messiah and get involved in a labyrinth or in music or a community, do it. If not, just continue doing what you're doing, being the kind, wonderful souls that you are. So for me, I'm not thinking about, there's another movie that inspires me. Heaven Can Wait. As far as I'm concerned, heaven can wait a long time. So, that's it. Thank you very much for your time. For this opportunity to share. It's so wonderful to have this time, brothers and sisters, to reflect on our life of faith, to look to the future, to look at what inspires us about our movement and our family. We thank you for the incredible brothers and sisters that have gone before us. As I mentioned, people like Bruce Benini and really touched the hearts of so many. We thank you for this community, Heavenly Father, and we want to truly count on blessings every day of our lives. Thank you for your love. I pray this in the name of the Savage family, Best Central family, Archie.